For the past 10 months, I've been building my first ever game, Tales for the Long Nights. And for my first ever attempt at game dev, it's coming along really well. But there was this one issue that's been hanging over it for a while that I've just never addressed. The combat system, it just doesn't feel crunchy. So now, after a massive overhaul and a complete rebuild of our combat arenas, I can finally say that the combat is almost there. It's punchier, it's got more energy, and there are brand new team synergies to make every fight more exciting and feel fresh and challenging. In this episode, we'll be implementing new abilities, new enemies, and attacks that just have a bit more If you're new here, I'm James, a self-taught first-time solo developer who's been creating my dream game, Tales for the Long Nights, for the past 10 months. It's a classic team-building RPG with a cyclical roguelike twist, where you guide a travelling merchant and their band of hired mercenaries north through this perilous fantasy world filled with unpredictable encounters, random events, strategic team building, and a real emphasis on survival. The big problem we're trying to solve is just how limp all the attacks felt. To try and address this, I've completely overhauled the animation and the impact system of all of the attacks. One of the key changes is something really subtle that you've probably never really even noticed in most games: impact delays. These are tiny millisecond engine slowdowns that add that extra little bit of to an attack, making every hit just feel a bit more powerful and impactful. I had to rebuild the audio management system for the game. Since I was building the new audio system, it made perfect sense to construct our first settings menu too, allowing players to tweak all of the different sound levels separately, giving you full control over how loud you want your After building this, I did have to go back and retroactively implement this into all of my old audio systems, which was a bit of an arse-ache, but now we've got a setting system that allows you to shift all of your different audio levels. And on top of all of that, I built a new backstab system, making melee positioning crucial and more rewarding for players who pay attention to the battlefield. Now with all of this, the attacks just feel so much more impactful, and there are so many more decisions to make during your fight that can change the outcome. To make everything feel a bit more purposeful, I built this brand new cinematic or directed camera mode that automatically moves and shifts the camera around the arena to showcase the combat as it unfurls. Although I understand that this isn't for everybody, so it's got its own little setting in the new settings menu, and it's got 3 different modes. Cinematic, which is the full package. Directed, that only shifts the camera rotations when your current view doesn't already look at the action. And free movement, which is the standard camera controls. They still need a little bit of perfecting, but personally I love playing in the semi-directed mode. I know these are quite contentious, so let me know what you think about directed cameras in games. Love them, hate them, or somewhere in between. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I do read every single comment as they pop up on my phone, and I respond to 99% of them, so I'd love to hear what you think about them. Before we get to the public playtesting, your feedback really helps me shape the best experience possible. To keep the combat arenas from feeling identical every single time, I've added this system for randomized obstructions for each of the arenas. These will dynamically change the sizes of the arenas, creating, choke points and new obstacles that you need to consider tactically during the fight. It's no longer going to be the same open battlefield every single time that you arrive to one of the scenes. Each of these handcrafted features can generate randomly on any of the combat arenas, and they implement pretty seamlessly design-wise. Now, this did require a fundamental rewrite of my whole grid system, and it broke a whole load of the AI when I started, but I think it was really worth the hassle. They look really good, and they add some uniqueness to each of the scenes so that it's not, identical every single time that you see it. Plus, it's given a little value boost to my teleport abilities that previously maybe weren't providing the value that they needed in an open field encounter. Now, it's not one of my videos without obsessing over the design of the scenes, so I've added a bunch of new environmental enhancements. My absolute favourite has to be the brand new cloud layer shadow system. These subtle moving shadows, they just add a layer of animation and some dynamic movement to the arenas that was missing previously. It integrates natively with my weather system and it's so system efficient it's practically free. You know, seeing the movement in the scenes really made me realise how much it brought them to life dynamically. So I created this brand new script that would animate these background ambient decorations. You know, a boat swinging on its ropes above a dock, or a barrel bobbing in the water. It just adds a little extra something to the scene that draws your eye every now and again. The thing is, with all of these little additions, they do sound really boring, you know. Talking about a new wind management system and the ambient weather audio system. So I'm just going to show you some of the scenes I've built over the past few weeks and just let you kind of soak up their ambient. Something I've shown off a bit in the previous episodes but never talked about was the new transition system between my scenes. I've always loved engaging and animated loading scenes in games. I feel like they don't break up the gameplay, they just feel like a part of it. So I built mine for this rolling environment that will roll away behind your wagon as you travel from one location to the next. This will mask the loading between scenes, but I think it also helps to ground the journey between these locations in the actual game. It will change depending on the terrain you're travelling through, the weather and the time of day, so that it always feels relevant from the scene that you've left previously to the scene that you're moving to. For this I modelled the travelling merchant's wagon, and I'm really happy with how it's come out. The wagon and its, pack goats are fully animated, and all I have to do now is model the travelling merchant, who will be the player character for the game. Once I did that, I cleaned up the combat UI so that it wasn't so intrusive throughout the fight, and implemented this system of hovering units to show their details while hiding them when you don't need to see them. The next thing I did was possibly the best thing I've ever done for my own development. For the first time in almost 11 months now, I took a break. I didn't develop anything for almost 2 weeks. In my mind, 1 week off would always become 2, and then 3, and then a couple of months had gone past and I hadn't done anything on the game. And I always wanted to avoid the opportunity for that to happen, but I realised recently that I just needed a break. I spent more time with my wife, with my friends, just playing games that helped inspire the changes for this episode. And it was so helpful, just taking a break from it, and not feeling like it's a job. You know, December's coming up this month. It's so busy already. You know, my birthday, my wife's birthday, our wedding anniversary, and Christmas all rolled into one. I don't think I'm going to get a lot of opportunity to develop things this month, and I'm okay with that. So I'll be back in the new year, and I'll continue working on Tales for the Long Nights. I anticipate being able to get my Steam page live in January is the current goal. And everything we've done over the past few months has really got it ready, stylistically and gameplay-wise, to be able to show it off on the page. Again, thank you all for watching the video, I do really appreciate it. I do read every single comment, so any feedback you have or just kind words you want to throw my way, they really help. So yeah, like the video, throw me a comment if you're interested, and I'll see you guys next year. Have a happy Christmas, and I'll catch up with you soon.